So, welcome to the sixth and final video of our course, Introduction to Buddhist Meditation, Visualization of the Tantric Stupa. We'll finish the exploration of the symbolism of the Tantric Stupa today and look in more detail at the clear blue sky before doing one last guided visualization of the Tantric Stupa, a full visualization of the Tantric Stupa. And we'll finish with a few thoughts on bringing it all home, bringing it back to our everyday lives and what it means in our everyday lives and what we can do in our everyday lives to realize the ideals set for us by the stupa and symbolism. We're beginning with finishing off our exploration of the symbolism. We saw how the Tantra says the spiritual life starts with the liberation of our energies, which gave rise to the question, how to liberate our energies? And the Tantra's answer, by the ceremony of initiation. An aspect of the ceremony was sprinkling of water from a vase of initiation. So the vase of initiation started to symbolize initiation itself. The vase of initiation became incorporated into the Tantric Stupa itself in a developed form of the stupa called the chortum. So what is the form of the stupa called the chortum? We'll see in a moment. So there we have it. There it is. Maybe it's a familiar form to you. Not quite all the colors we were promised, but the shapes. We're starting with the cube at the bottom, which isn't quite a cube and isn't quite yellow, but that's okay. We'll proceed up to the 4 steps. 2 steps of 4, 2 sets. Well, 1 set of 3, 1 set of 4 steps. And on the 4 steps, we have not the white sphere, but the vase of initiation. The vase of initiation replaced the white sphere. The element water, even in its most refined forms, being replaced by a symbol for the liberation of energies. So what's the significance of the change in symbolism? Initiation, transformation of psycho-spiritual energies is central to the spiritual life. So in the Tantra, we need initiation to start our spiritual lives. meaning we need the Guru. But who is the Guru? We saw in essence the Guru is someone with very strong positive energies who activates our positive energies. The Guru does this by highly positive communication, within or without, within or outside the supporting structures of rituals. In Triratna, we can achieve the same effect by communication. Spiritual friends can activate our spiritual energies, with or without the support of rituals and ceremonies. In Triratna, we don't have tantric initiations, but recognize the liberation of energy as an aspect of going for refuge. And we have rituals expressing going for refuge. So, liberation of energies are part of our rituals, a dimension, an aspect of them. Any ritual expressing going for refuge includes the dimension of initiation. And the rituals express externally what we do internally as we practice, day by day, minute by minute, moment by moment in our everyday lives. These rituals have different levels of intensity. Maybe we're just coming along regularly to events, one level of intensity. Maybe we're becoming a mitra, a friend, shall we say, to the spiritual community, the order, or even a higher level, the ceremony of ordination itself. More about going for refuge and rituals in a later course, and the different levels of engagement. But both of these, liberation of energies as an aspect of going for refuge and communication and spiritual friendship, shows something important. The underlying principles of Buddhism are found in different traditions with different forms. One form is tantric initiation. Another form is rituals, the ritual expression of going for refuge with the understanding that a dimension of it is the liberation of energies. One form is relations with the Guru. Another form is communication with spiritual friends. So now we can go further in seeing the change of symbolism of the Tantric Stupa. And returning to the stupa, above the vase of initiation, we have a red cone, often with notches, symbolizing fire, and a pale green upturned hemisphere for air, which we can see. And it's a little different. We can see the cone with notches being golden. We'll take the shape above it for the upturned hemisphere. But the important change, above that, on the flat surface of the upturned hemisphere, there is a white crescent moon we can see. And on the inner curve of the moon, a red sun disk is balanced. On top of that is our flaming drop in the vase of initiation, according to our colour scheme. In our version of the stupa, according to our colour scheme, the vase of initiation and the present moon are white. The cone and the sun disk are red. Water and the moon represent lunar energy. Fire and the sun represent solar energy. Lunar and solar energy could be considered masculine and feminine. Could be considered feminine and masculine. That's better. So the Chorten, the Tantric Stupa, includes the progressive unification of lunar and solar energies on higher and higher levels of being and consciousness. A question for you for chat. Do you have any experience of the unification of energies? What does that mean for you? In practice, it can be said to mean the unification of the conscious and the unconscious mind, the coming together of the conscious and unconscious mind, the unification of reason and emotion, of action and meditation, of individualism and altruism. So that's the new things which a stupa started to symbolize. So above the white moon crescent and a red sun disk, we have the flaming drop. Let's have a look. One version of the stupa and another. And going the other way, yet another. Let's stay with this one. The white crescent moon we can see on top, and above that the red sun disk, the gold sun disk, and the flaming drop, the little sphere. The flaming drop, the flaming jewel on top represents the unification of the white crescent moon and the red sun disk at the highest possible level. So the unification of the most refined forms of solar and lunar energies. So what is this? The unification of wisdom and compassion. Wisdom being direct experience of reality, face to face, without obstruction, hindrance, illusion or delusion. Compassion being overwhelming love for all and a desire to help those in trouble. So the flaming drop, we can say, is the intense desire for enlightenment, for the enlightenment of all. The will to enlightenment for the sake of all. What in Buddhism, in Mahayana Buddhism, is called the bodhicitta. And the will to enlightenment, the bodhicitta, from its first arising to its fulfillment, which is perfect enlightenment, the enlightenment of the Buddha. So just as Buddhahood is the pinnacle of human experience, so the flaming drop is the pinnacle of the stupa. So we've come a long way in our brief account of the symbolism of the Tantric Stupa, starting with the meaning of the forms and elements, the sources being of the elements, the teaching on the elements being common to all schools of Buddhism. We saw how in the Tantra they came to mean the so-called material universe, the ever more refined nature of our mental states, our states of consciousness, and the psychophysical and the psycho-spiritual organism itself. A question for you, which of these meanings is the most attractive, the most accessible? And of course, our latest developments, the inclusion of the symbolism of initiation. So the stupa ever more so representing the liberation of energies, the transformation of psycho-spiritual energies at ever higher levels of being and consciousness. And the flaming drop, the pinnacle of human existence, the enlightenment of a Buddha. So, now we've looked at all the forms of the stupa. There's just one element of the visualization we haven't talked about, and that's the clear blue sky. the clear blue sky expanding out in all directions of space. During practice, we are sitting in the clear blue sky, and we visualize the stupa in the clear blue sky. It's everywhere, and no objects exist in it. No physical objects, so it's not limited in any way. It spreads outwards without limit. It's a context in which the stupa exists. It's a context in which we exist. What does the clear blue sky mean? What does it symbolize? Isn't it a bit similar to the element air, moving in all directions of space simultaneously? And then after that, we had the element space beyond words altogether. Or we can say that the clear blue sky is on another dimension altogether. Just like space is a dimension air and the other elements of form exist in, so the clear blue sky is a dimension in which space exists in which akasha exists in. The clear blue sky symbolizes emptiness, shunyata itself, not just the meditative state, the arupa, the rupa or arupa dhyanas, but something altogether of a different order. It is the dimension of emptiness, which we sit in during a practice, in which the stupa exists during our practice. We first met emptiness, shunyata, had our first flash of emptiness, when we were looking at the Mahabhutas, the great ghosts. Earth, water, fire and air make up rupa or form, the objective content of the perceptual situation. We can know rupa through our senses. We can know its effect on our senses. We can know rupa through its qualities, resistance and so on, by meeting its qualities. But what rupa is in itself, we don't know, we can't know. And knowing that is a flash of emptiness. Take another example, another flash of emptiness. The word enlightenment includes the words light. This example works in both Russian and English. But what do we mean by light when we talk of enlightenment and enlightenment, the enlightenment of a Buddha? It isn't just the light we experience through our senses. We all experience that light, not just Buddhas. So what is the light of enlightenment? Again, we don't know, and we can't know, at least in our current state of mind, our current level of consciousness. The experience of enlightenment we don't know. Only the word light can we know. And the word light is by nature a metaphor. And we can only know more about light by means of other words, which are also metaphors outside of our own experience, of course. So what enlightenment is, we can't know by means of words. We don't know what by means of words, and we can't know by means of words. Since we can only learn, we can only know the. Our stupa exists in the blue sky of emptiness. We sit in a clear blue sky of emptiness. No longer just a flash of emptiness, but emptiness surrounding and enveloping us. The context of the practice is emptiness, the great mystery of emptiness. A question for you. What's been your experience of emptiness? If you can say anything at all. So really, having explored the clear blue sky, as well as the forms of the stupa, we really have come to the end of our exploration of the Tantric Stupa, the endless end. The endless end. So before visualizing the stupa again, one last time, I'd like to finish with some words of advice. On the goal of the course, we could say, understanding the deeper meaning of symbols. But we can't simply decide to understand symbols more deeply. We can't just make a rational, volitional choice to understand them more deeply. Desiring to see the symbols more deeply even doesn't help. We need to be receptive to symbols, to their energy, receptive to their resonance. We can try by seeing them in our mind's eye, either literally seeing them or getting a feeling for them, and then see what they awaken in us, what spontaneous reactions come. In this sense, symbols are alive. They have a life of their own. We can't control them. We just can be receptive to them. A question for you: what symbols have had the strongest effect on you? Now, when you were a teenager, when you were a child? If you care to think back. Symbols can influence us. They can change us. They point to that which we are not yet conscious of, but that which we can become conscious of. Symbols are full of energy, so not just subjects of intellectual interest, academic interest. It's not a question of studying Tibetan culture, Indian culture. Symbols are by their nature creative, and they create spiritual life in us. They give birth to spiritual life in us and accelerate our spiritual development. Right here, right now. Let's do it. Right here, right now. Next. So, ready to do the stupa visualization practice one last time. We'll continue doing the form we've always done, not the new Jordan form we heard about earlier. Just my advice to try and remember all that you've heard about symbols over the course of these videos. There's a lot to recollect. Remembering the importance of being receptive to the symbols, to the life of the symbols, to the aliveness of the symbols. Let's look at our stupa. Once again. Just once again, putting the bolster behind my back. To sit up straight, have a good posture during the meditation. So, visualization of the Tantric Stupa. Beginning, as always, by listening to all the sounds around you. To bring your awareness fully into the room. And bringing your attention to your body, seated here, comfortably and uprightly. And then looking outwards to see the clear blue sky, becoming aware of the clear blue sky, imagining the clear blue sky, spreading out in all directions of space. Taking a few moments just to take in this great change in perspective. And in the midst of the clear blue sky, maybe before us or inside us, we see the form of a cube, a yellow cube, a brilliant yellow cube. Symbol of the energies of Earth, remembering all that we've heard about the Earth, and being alive to our responses, above the yellow cube we see a sphere, a white sphere, a brilliant white sphere, symbol of the energies of water, And above the white sphere, we see a cone, a red cone, a burning red cone, symbol of the energies of fire. And above the red cone, we see hemisphere, and upturned hemisphere, pale green hemisphere, symbol of the energies of air. And above the pale green hemisphere, we see a flaming drop, a rainbow-coloured drop, symbol of the energies of space. So we can see the stupa as a whole. See the stupa in the midst of the clear blue sky, just as we sit in the midst of the clear blue sky. The clear blue sky of emptiness, the clear blue sky of shunyata, the mysterious clear blue sky. just as form is contained by space, so space and form are contained by emptiness. As we witness the great mystery of existence. And in the midst of the clear blue sky, at the pinnacle of the stupa, we can focus our attention on the flaming drop, the rainbow-coloured drop. I am space. I contain all, from a grain of dust to a galaxy. I'm that which exists in you. As the space limited by the earth, water, fire, and air that make up your physical being. But one day they will go, and I too will go, leaving you unlimited. Goodbye. And with these words, the flaming drop slowly dissolves into the pale green hemisphere. Which speaks. I am air. I am wind, breeze, and hurricane. I am that which exists in you. As the breath in your nostrils, in your lungs, the breath that gently comes, the breath that gently goes. But one day I will go for the last time, leaving you empty, we will have to part. Goodbye. And with these words, the pale green hemisphere slowly dissolves into the red cone. Which speaks to us in a strange tongue. I'm fire. I come from the sun, travelling through space, to sleep in wood, flint, and steel. I'm that which exists in you, as bodily heat, the warmth of an embrace. But now, but one day, I must go, leaving you cold. We will part. Goodbye. And with these words, the red cone slowly dissolves into the white sphere. I'm water, says the white sphere. I'm ocean, lake, rivers and streams. The rain that falls from the clouds, and the dew on the petals of flowers. I'm that which exists in you, as blood, urine, sweat, saliva and tears. But one day I must go, leaving you dry. We will part. Goodbye. And with these words, the white sphere slowly dissolves into the yellow cube. The yellow cube which communicates to us. I am earth. I am rock, metal and soil. I am that which exists in you, This bone, muscle, flesh. But one day I will go, leaving you light. One day we must part. Goodbye. And with these words, the yellow cube slowly dissolves into the clear blue sky. The clear blue sky which murmurs to us. I am consciousness, indefinable and indescribable. I am that which exists in you. The sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch, thought. But one day I must go from a space no longer limited by your physical being, leaving nothing with you. There will be no one from whom to part, so no goodbye. And finally, the clear blue sky slowly dissolves away. Consciousness dissolves into boom. As we sit, absorbing the effects of the practice. So, how did the practice go? I'll be interested to hear once again, in as much detail as possible. And so, we've visualized the stupa, having examined the symbolism of the stupa, seen the stupa as a symbol of the liberation of energy. Liberation of energy being the means of raising our level of being and consciousness. And finally, seen how the symbols dissolve into the clear blue sky, left sitting, even with the dissolution of the clear blue sky, with just So what now? What can we do in everyday life? How can we use this teaching? How to express it in everyday life? Every day, every hour, every minute, every single moment. What can we do with body and speech as well as mind? With our whole being, right here, right now. Let's return to the stupa for an answer and start at the bottom. Start at the beginning. Let's return to us as we are now. The yellow cube, symbol of the element earth, in terms of energy, blocked energy. Even though in a state of blocked energy, we can often feel powerless to find a way out. Buddhism, meaning the wisdom of the Buddhas, tells us blocked energy isn't a state that arises randomly. Energy is blocked because of causes and conditions, because of something we do, we did, we have done. And yet it's so hard to be conscious of the consequences of our actions and habits, even unconscious habits that maybe we picked up as a result of painful experience early in life. So what can we do to free up our energy? There are 5 areas that we can look at. We'll look at them now, and we'll look at them in more detail in a later course. But before we start, a question for you. What do you think? How can you change how you act to free up energy, to unblock your energy? It's worth a moment. It's worth taking a moment just to reflect on this question first, and to share it with me in chat, of course. Firstly, the most extreme form of what we can stop doing to free up energy is stop taking life. stop killing. But since most of us probably haven't killed anybody recently, there are more refined forms. Stopping acting violently. What is violence? It's not just physically beating. Violence is doing something to someone that they don't want done to them. Violence is forcing somebody to do what we want them to do. Violence is the domination of one ego by another. And the Buddhist teaching tells us that this blocks energy. Maybe it's not our immediate experience, but our energy is blocked. The overall level of our being. So where are we forcing people to do things? A question for reflection. And why are we forcing them? Can we stop forcing them? How does it feel to do so? What might we lose if we stop forcing people? Try it and see. Let people be free to do as they wish. You might find out who your real friends are and who they aren't. You might find that energy gets liberated. The second area is stopping taking what is not freely given. This may mean physical theft or violence regarding possessions, meaning forcing somebody to give something against their will perhaps. Maybe even just taking someone's time and attention when they don't want to give it. We might not even notice that we're doing it. We might have to be very aware to notice when it happens. And what happens if we make a concerted effort to stop doing this? See what the effects are. Will energy be liberated? And thirdly, irresponsible actions in the sexual sphere, meaning acting without attention to possible consequences. We're using violence, force, to get what we want, and to get somebody to do what we want, or to let us do what we want. Again, does stopping doing this liberate energy? Try it and see. Fourthly, false speech. This can mean either deliberate lies, or merely inaccuracy through inattention, exaggeration or minimization, trivialization. We could add to false speech harsh speech, meaningless speech, or slanderous speech. How we speak is very important. It connects our inner and our outer world. It's the basis of our relations with others. It forms most of our conscious persona, personality. We don't have to say everything, or try to say everything that we experience. We have a choice. Can we make using that choice the means of liberating energy? And fifthly, lastly, the last action which blocks energy. Taking substances that cloud the mind. An obvious example, alcohol. We might say we get energy from drinking. And in the short term, we might be right. But in the long run, energy is deeply blocked. It's blocked internally through having a detrimental effect on our state of consciousness, our state of being, beyond merely being hungover the next day. It can be blocked externally as well, as a consequence of restrictions placed on us, and a loss of trust, and a loss of respect. We might get arrested. Again, something to try, stopping clouding our mind, and see if energy is liberated. The question for you: what would you like to stop doing in the next week, for the next month even, to see if not doing it can liberate energy? Let me know in chat and what the effects were. And good luck. And I wish you abundant energy, clear, light, carefree, joyful energy. So, we come to the end of the first stage, where energy was taking the form of earth, blocked energy. And we saw what we can do to get it moving, or rather we saw what not to do, what to stop doing to get it moving. So we feel light, confident, energetic. And what next? In such a state, we can enter into real communication with others. There won't be something hanging back, holding us back. So what is real communication? First of all, let's look at what it's not. It's not a mere exchange of information. It's not giving advice. It's not playing a social role, or even a spiritual role. I'm the teacher. It's not that. It's not wearing a social mask. It's not keeping our real self hidden, and so on and so forth. It is communicating our direct experience, our personal experience, honestly communicating, openly communicating, warmly, sincerely communicating, being who we really are and expressing who we really are. Ourselves not at our worst, but at our best. And just as importantly, communicating with awareness of whom we are talking to. This is our energy when it takes the form of water. Or maybe it sounds more like the vase of initiation, that energy at the time of initiation where we feel like we become the king. Be that as it may, this is the second stage. And on the basis of genuine communication, we can again move up a level. On the basis of genuine human communication, genuine human relations become possible. Genuine love becomes possible. Not merely romantic love, painfully attached to one other person, but love where we ourselves are free and let others be free. We've reached the level of energy taking the form of fire, the red cone of the stupa, energy rising. Energy, love, burning hot, inspiration. And once we're able to create relations on the basis of real communication and real love, even with one or a few people, we can begin to build a world around us on that basis. More and more people can live in this world. Anyone can live in this world who wants to do what's needed, being true to themselves, true to who we really are. This world becomes an ever-growing place of freedom and limitless opportunities. We've arrived at energy in the form of air. The upturned, pale green hemisphere. Energy traveling in all directions of space simultaneously. Hard for us to imagine, maybe. And after air comes space. And as we've seen, language breaks down to express our energy here. And going even further, we come to consciousness, the clear blue sky. Just as form exists in space, Akasha, so space exists in a dimension of the clear blue sky, in a dimension of emptiness, of shunyata, shunyata. Form as well as space are contained in emptiness. And as well, form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. So here, mysteriously, maybe we really have come to the end of our exploration of the symbolism of the Tantric Stupa, even the end of the spiritual path, the endless end. Now that we have seen the path laid out before us, all that is left for us to do is to follow it